I'm starting a social media marketing agency from scratch with $0 and I'm gonna grow it to $100,000 per month. Now in today's video, we're gonna talk about calendars and automations. So let's just dive right into it. So we're inside of my computer, let's go. We have quite a few things to cover today. First of all, we're gonna create a new sales pipeline inside of HighLevel. We're gonna have 3 stages: lead, application, and then schedule. Then we're also going to create a new lead automation. So we're gonna have the lead form and then update the opportunity. Gonna show you exactly how to do that. We're also going to create a grow form automation. So we're gonna get all of the inbound leads, all of the applications essentially. We're going to use an inbound webhook and get all of those leads into HighLevel. And then we're going to update the opportunity or create a contact. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Grow form is not mandatory to use at all. It's just what I'm going to use in my agency right now. Then we're also going to connect the calendar. So we're going to set up all of the calendar settings. We're going to use Google Meet instead of Zoom. And then we're going to create a round robin calendar. Then we're going to create a booking page and we're going to embed the calendar on that booking page. And then finally, we're going to create a booking automation and a follow-up sequence as well. So if we begin with point number 1 to create a new sales pipeline inside of HighLevel, it's very simple. I'm just going to go into my sub account. Then I'm going to go to settings, and here under pipelines, this is where I'm going to create a new pipeline. I'm going to just call this sales, and we're going to have 3 different stages. So the first one is going to be lead. This is where we're going to place all of the leads that come in through the landing page of the funnel. Then we're going to have another one called application. And then finally, we're going to have one called schedule right here. Once that is done, I can just click on save. Now we can see we have the sales pipeline here. If I go back to the opportunities tab, we can now see that we have 3 different stages here. And you can make super complex sales pipelines and automations. I just want to make it as simple and minimalistic as possible. So this is what I'm going to use. However, I teach how to do things quite differently inside of the free SMMA course. We have a couple of more stages, and if you're interested in learning about that, you can go through the course essentially. Now, the next thing we want to do is to create a new lead automation. So as soon as we get a lead coming into our business, I want to make sure that we update that opportunity and get them into this opportunity stage inside of the sales pipeline. And to do that is very, very simple. We go into automations inside of HighLevel. Then I'm going to create a new workflow right here, and we're going to start from scratch. And I'm just going to name this workflow something simple as one new lead, for example. And then for the trigger, we're going to use a form. So form submitted. I'm also going to add a filter. So form is the landing page form essentially. And I'm just going to name this trigger name like new lead, for example. And then I'm going to save the trigger. Because if you think about it now, if somebody goes to roofmax.ai, they come to this page, they opt in using this form. This is the form that we just selected. So whenever somebody opts in here, we want to put them into the sales pipeline. And now this is the trigger, right? So as soon as somebody opts in, I want to tell HighLevel essentially what we want to do. And the action I'm going to use is update opportunity, or create an update opportunity right here. Then I'm going to tell HighLevel that I want to put this lead into the sales pipeline. I want to put them into the lead stage. Don't need to put an opportunity name. Don't need an opportunity source. Lead value, we can skip that. And then status, I want to make sure that we keep this lead as open, and then also allow opportunity to move back. I normally select that as well. I'm going to click on save. And then under settings, this is very important. I'm going to make sure that we allow re-entry. So if somebody has booked a call before, but they become a lead again, we want to make sure that people are allowed to enter into this automation multiple times. And then sender details. So from name, I can put Max Perzon here. So this is going to be the default settings, and max@roofmax.ai for here, for example. That's normally what I do. Then I can click on save. And if we go back to the builder now, here is also where we can start sending emails and text messages to the people who are opting in. However, I am not going to do that right now because, again, we're not going for volume with this business model. I just want to get like 10 clients. And I also know that a lot of you guys from YouTube are going to opt in, so I don't want to send out a bunch of emails. So I'm just going to leave this automation as is for now. I'm just going to leave it super simplistic, very easy. And then I'm just going to click on publish here and then click on save. So that's 2 points out of the way. The next thing I want to do is to create a grow form automation. So as soon as we get an inbound lead from the survey tool that I'm using right now in RoofMax called grow form, we want to use an inbound webhook, and then we want to update an opportunity as well. So let me show you how we do that. So if we go back to the automations, I'm going to create a new workflow. I'm going to start from scratch again. And this workflow, I'm just going to name 2, and I can call it applications, for example. I'm going to save it. And same thing for this one. I'm going to make sure that we have allow re-entry. I'm also going to sender details. I'm going to use Max Perzon and max@roofmax.ai. Going to save that. And then if we go back to the builder, now this trigger is going to be a little bit different. We will have to use a inbound webhook. So I'm going to click right here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm just going to copy this URL right here. And then I will have to log into Growform. Using Growform is not mandatory. It's just what I'm going to use for my agency right now when people apply because they look really good. So I'm just going to log in and I'm going to show you exactly how we connect it. So if I go into the form and then I go into edit form settings, Then we go into alerts and integrations. And then here, I'm going to click on add integration and then on webhook right here. Then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to paste the code that I got from HighLevel right here. And then I'm going to click on save. Once that is done, the next step that I have to do is to do a small test essentially, or make sure that we get some data into the system that I can use. So I'll just go back to the form that we're using on roofmax.ai/apply. I will do a test lead right here. So just put in some dummy data. I'm going to click on submit. Then I will make sure that it's redirecting the correct way, which it does. And now if I go back to HighLevel, I can click on fetch sample data. Then you can see here that I got a lead generated right now. So I'm going to click on it. And here we'll see all of the data that I just put in. So we have the email, we have the phone, etc., etc. Now I'm going to click on save trigger. And when I do that, you will see that it automatically creates a create update contact field right here. So what I'm going to do now is essentially just creating a new contact using the data that I got from Growform. So I'm going to click on add field, and I'm just going to use the essential information to create the new contact, basically name, email, and phone number. So if we start with name right here, so full name, then in this drop down menu here, I will click on this and click on inbound webhook trigger. And then I'm going to select the form submission. Then we're going to select fields. I'm going to scroll to the left, and then I am going to go into the name. We have the name right here, and then I'm going to enter value right there. So now we have the name. I'm going to do another one, which is going to be the email right here. Same thing. I'm going to use the inbound webhook trigger, form submission, fields. We have the email, and then I'm going to select the value right there. And then we're also going to do a final one, which is going to be for the phone number. So phone, you know the drill. Go to inbound webhook, form submission, fields, phone, and then value. And then we can save action, and then click on publish, and then click on save. Now, also what you could do here is to send an internal notification, for example. So let's say you want to get an email sent to you every single time that you get a new application, or if you have a VA that's going to do that for you, you could do that here. Again, I'm not going to do that because we're going to review all of the applications that we get under view leads here. We'll just review everything here. You can see that we're getting a bunch of people testing. So I normally just go in here and delete all of that. So I just want to leave this super simplistic, but there's one more thing that I need to do, and that is just to create update opportunity, because we want to move this lead now from the lead stage and move that contact to the application stage. And then for status, we're still going to keep it as open, and we're going to click on allow opportunity to move to any previous stage in the pipeline as well. So I'm going to click on save action here again, and then click on save. That's basically it. I can go back to workflows and go into opportunities again. Right now it's empty. So let's do a test. The next thing I do is just click on start your application. Then I'll just go through this application using the same information. So I put in the information. I'm going to click on submit, and then it's redirecting us to the correct page. That's good. If I go into Growform and if I refresh here, we can see that we have the lead right here. And if I go back to RoofMax, you can see that the lead has now moved from the lead stage over to the application stage, which is exactly what we want. So we've basically completed step number 1, step number 2, and also step number 3, right? Because we completed the Growform application, the inbound webhook, and then we also updated opportunity. Now, what we want to do is to connect my calendar, and we're going to set up all of the calendar settings and also implement the Google Meet instead of Zoom. And then we're going to create a round robin calendar. So quite a bit to do. Let's just dive right into it. So now inside of HighLevel, the first thing we need to do is just to go to settings. I'm going to go to calendars, and then we can go to connections right here. And then I'm just going to make sure to connect my Gmail account and my calendar. To do that, I just click on connect. It takes me to the integrations page. I click on sign in with Google. Then I just select my Gmail account. I click on allow. So now you can see that we've added the Google Calendar right here. The next thing I need to do is just to go to my staff. I'm going to go into my profile right here, click on edit, then user calendar configuration, primary calendar. I will just have to click on edit. I'm going to select my primary calendar and then select my primary calendar right here. Allow contact creation, just use as default. I'm going to click on save, and that is basically it. So if we go into calendars now again, we can just check here that everything is correct. So if I go into preferences, scheduling options, meeting location, my preference, we can use Google Meet. So that's perfect because now we've actually connected the Google account. Account preference, we can check all of these things. So week starts on Monday. That's what I'm used to. Then view options here. We can select that to Mondays as well. I'm going to click on save preferences. Then we can go into availability again. Basically what I want to do here is just select that I'm available all days between 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. as well. So it should be 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. Copy to all. So Monday to Sunday, I'm basically going to be available all the time, but we're going to block out all of the times that I'm not available inside of the actual Google Calendar that I will show you in a sec. I'm going to click on save availability. Now again, since we put all of this availability open, as mentioned, what we need to do is to adjust the actual Google Calendar. So here inside of Google Calendar, you can see that we have an open schedule. And now I want to block out all of the times that I will not be available to take calls. And the first thing that I always like to fix is that the calendar starts on a Sunday. I don't like that. So I'm going to go into settings right here, and then we're going to search for start, and then start week on Sunday. I'm going to change that to start week on Monday. That's the first thing that I like to add. And then also if you search for world clock, this is what I like to use as well. Since I'm based in Sweden, I need to know a couple of time zones in the United States. So the first thing I always use is the Eastern time New York right here. Then I add another time zone, and I use the Central time Chicago right there. And then I add a third time zone as well, Pacific time in Los Angeles right there. Because it's very good when you're on a call with somebody in the US and you're on a sales call, for example, and you need to reschedule or do a new appointment. It's really good to have this world clock in place. Because now if I go back right here, you'll see that I have a world clock. So I have New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. So let's say I want to book a call for 9 a.m. Swedish time. I can see that it's going to be 3 a.m. in New York, 2 a.m. in Chicago, and 12 a.m. in the middle of the night. So it's not going to work. But if I do 4 p.m., then it's going to be 10 a.m., 9 a.m., and 7 a.m. So it just helps to manually book calls with people on sales calls. So with that out of the way, now what I need to do is just to block out the hours where I'm not going to be able to accept calls. So now what I'm going to do is just block out from the middle of the night, 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm not going to take any calls. I'm just going to X this out, click on save. And this is not my main personal calendar neither, right? I'm not going to schedule in all of the other stuff that I'm doing on a daily basis. But basically between 12 p.m. and 7 p.m. Swedish time, I am not going to take calls. I'm going to just put an X there. So that means in US times from 12 p.m. it's going to be early in the morning, 6 a.m. Eastern time, and to 6 p.m. Swedish time it's going to be 12 p.m. New York time, and then 9 a.m. in Los Angeles times. And the time zones are not ideal for working with the west coast of the US. It is what it is, but it's mainly just going to be for sales calls. So these are the times that I'm going to be able to take those calls. And then what I do very simple is that I am just going to click on this first event. I'm going to click on edit, and then I am going to repeat this daily and click on save. Now you can see that blocking out Monday through Sunday. And then same thing down here. I'm going to repeat this as well. I'm going to click on edit, and then I'm going to repeat daily, click on save. And then for Saturdays and Sundays, I can take calls on Saturdays, but for Sundays, I'm not going to take any calls at all. So I'm going to block this out as well, and then click on edit. And then I'm going to repeat these weekly on Sunday. So these are basically the openings then that I'm going to take calls. So now with that out of the way, let's go back to the instructions. We basically connected the calendar. We've started to set up the calendar settings. We've integrated the Google Meet, and we haven't done the round robin yet. So what we need to do now is that we need to actually create the calendar. So let's do that next. And to do that, we simply go into calendars, into HighLevel. I'm going to create a new calendar. And here we get presented with different options. We have simple calendar, and we have a round robin calendar. This is what we are going to use. I'm going to explain why. We're going to have a class booking. So contacts can schedule meetings with a single person on your team. And then we also have collective booking. When somebody books a call, it creates an event for both me and Suli, for example. But in this case, I'm going to be the main person who do the sales calls for RoofMax. So I'm going to just choose a round robin. And the reason why is that if we're going to have a setter down the line, it's just good to have a round robin calendar in place. So the calendar name is just going to be called roofmax.ai, very simplistic. And then for description, I'm going to write book a call with the roofmax.ai team. We can change that later. For team members, I'm going to select myself. And here for the custom URL, I can just use RoofMax. We're not going to use this URL anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Meeting duration, I'm going to use 1 hour. We can set aside 1 hour for the actual call. Alternatively, you can do 45 minutes, but I'm going to set aside 1 hour. That's fine. I'm going to select all days. Even though we've removed Sundays, I'm going to select all days because we might add a sales rep later down the line and he want to take calls on Sundays. So then we want to make sure that this team calendar or this round robin calendar accepts all times essentially. And then to further customize your business hours, I am basically going to click on advanced settings here, and then we're going to take it from here instead. So we have the calendar name, we have the description. For the group, we don't have a group yet. We will see if we have to create a group. I think that we do. Meeting invite title. Here normally I put in the contact name, so the name of the person who books the actual call, and then I'm going to put in roofmax.ai for our team. And here it's just going to be me who are taking the calls right now. And then for the color, I'm going to use orange because why not? I'm going to click on save. Then under availability, you can see that we're actually going to use 12 a.m. on all of these openings, Monday through Saturday, because again, we're controlling the actual times when people can book a call in the actual calendar of the person who's going to take the calls. We're going to do that. And then for meeting interval, we're going to do 60 minutes. Meeting duration, 1 hour. Minimum scheduling notice, we can do like 1 day in advance. Date range, I'm going to do 14 days into the future. They can book, can leave that blank. Maximum bookings per slot, 1 buffer time. We basically don't need a buffer time because we're doing 1 hour meeting interval and 1 hour meeting duration. So that is fine. Click on save. Under forms and payment, we can just use the default form. It's fine because they've already gone through the application and we're sending this out to specific people who we want to talk with. We can also use sticky contacts. I confirm that I want to receive content from this company. We can use the consent checkbox. Sure. Add guests. We can skip that. Confirmation page. We can just use the default. We don't really need to redirect them to any specific page because we're not going to use this in a funnel. Facebook Pixel ID. We can leave this blank. Auto confirm new calendar meetings. That's fine. I'm going to click on save. And under notification and additional options, let's hear acknowledgement email. Who should receive this notification? We can use the contact. That is fine. And we can also use assigned user. We can also add additional emails. I could add Suli here. Suli at roofmax.ai. So he gets a notification about the meeting if you want to join or not. Also allow Google Calendar to send invitation or update emails. That's good. Assign contacts to the respective calendar team members each time. Yeah, we can use that as well. You can click on save. And then finally, under customization, we're just going to use this as is. We don't need to upload a cover image or logo because we're going to have it on our own domain on a funnel page. Calendar widget style, I like the Neo one. Allow staff selection. We're not going to do that. We're not going to put in any custom code. Then under cancellation and reschedule meeting, I'm going to actually turn this off. I don't want people to be able to reschedule or cancel just the last minute. So if they want to cancel or reschedule, they will have to reach out to us over email and we will do it for them. That's it. I'm going to click on save. Now, if we go back to the instructions, we've basically done everything on point number 4. We've connected a calendar. We've set up the calendar settings we just did. We've added the Google Meet, which is good. And we've also added the round robin. And we've also adjusted our actual Google Calendar when we want to be able to take meetings. The next thing we want to do is to create a booking page and they want to embed this calendar on our booking page. So let's do that next. And to do that, we basically want to go under sites into funnels. And then I'm going to go into my VSL funnel right here. I'm going to create a new step. I'm actually going to clone this confirmation step so that we get the same design. I'm going to click on the clone step in this funnel. Then what I'm going to do is just to go under publishing. I'm going to name this step something else. So 5, we can call this calendar, for example. I'm going to click on update step. Right here on the cogwheel, I'm also going to change this path to something else. However, I'm not going to make this URL public because I don't want a bunch of people booking calls in my calendar. However, if we go into and just edit this page right now, let's make sure that we embed the calendar. So we're on the page. I am just going to remove pretty much everything on this page. It's going to be a very simplistic and minimalistic page. I'm even going to remove this headline and everything. If I go into this box, we can remove the margin to the top and the padding to the top as well. That is fine. And same thing here. I want to remove the padding to the top because the calendar has a bunch of padding and margins anyways. And then I'm going to add a new element. So I'm going to add a calendar right here. I'm going to select the roofmax.ai calendar. Now you can see that we have it added. So roofmax.ai, book a call with the roofmax.ai team. It's perfect. Looks good. And then I'm going to click on save. I'm going to preview this page just to see what it looks like. And it looks good. So now if we just review these settings, I can select 4 days plus these days into the future. So I'm just double checking that the 14 days into the future are actually working. That's good. And I can't book any Sundays neither. So that's exactly what we want. Now, if I go to Monday, you can see that I can book from between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. and that's Swedish time zone. And as you can see, these are the exact settings that we set up previously. So that means that the integration is working. So now let's do a test. So if I want to book a call for Tuesday the 5th, let's say, I want to book a call for 1 p.m. Swedish time. I click on continue. Then it's just going to put in some information here. So first name, last name. I'm also going to put in a fake phone number here. Fake email as well. So I'm just going to do johnsina123@gmail.com. Additional information. I'm not going to use that. I confirm. And then we're going to click on schedule meeting. And then it just tells us that the meeting has been scheduled, which is perfect. We could, as mentioned, redirect them to our thank you page, but I don't really want to do that. It's fine now that we just got the meeting booked. So that's basically it. And we get all of the information and the meeting locations here, etc. Now, if I go back into my calendar, if I go to the next week here, we will be able to see that I have this meeting in my calendar now. And we can also see that we have the Google Meet link to actually join the call as well. So we have everything in here inside of the calendar, which means that it's working, which is perfect. So that's basically then point number 5 completed. Create booking page, embed calendar. It's done. And now if we go into point number 6, is that we want to create a booking automation and a follow-up sequence as well. So let's do that next. And to do this, we just go into automations. I'm going to click on create workflow. And here we could start from scratch, but also HighLevel has a ton of them that are already pre-built, right? So we have a recipe for appointment booking, and then we have recipe appointment booking plus reminder. And then they also even have a recipe appointment booking confirmation reminder survey and review request. This one is actually really, really cool to use, especially for local businesses, but it doesn't really fit what I'm looking for right now. However, this recipe with just an appointment confirmation and a reminder, we can use that one. So just to make it easy for ourselves, instead of building it out from scratch, now we just have a completed automation built from scratch for us essentially that we can use. Before I dive into anything, again, I just want to go under settings. I want to make sure that we allow re-entry, stop and response. No, we want to follow up with people up until the actual appointment, even though they do response. Then sender details, we can use Max Perzon, which is fine. And we can use max@roofmax.ai, which is good. And then we can click on save. And then if we go back to the builder right here, right now, the first thing we can check is just go into the actual trigger, right? Event type, here they have selected normal. We can select any here. Then appointment status is confirmed. That's good as well. We can save the trigger and we can save up here as well. So now if we just quickly go through this automation, you can see that initially what's going to happen is that we're going to send a confirmation email from the location name, from the location email. And this is basically what the email is going to say. So hi, contact first name, your appointment has been confirmed for the start date at start time in this specific time zone. Let us know if you have any questions in the meantime. When it's time, please use this Zoom meeting ID, which is not what we want to use, right? When it's time, please use this Google meeting link. That's what we want to use. And to find this Google Meeting link, we can go into custom values, we go into appointment, and then we want to select the meeting location right here. So that should be correct. We can test that in a sec. So we're going to click on save action and then click on save. Basically what's going to happen is that 24 hours before the appointment, we are going to go to the next step. But here's also very interesting. If the timing of this wait step is already in the past, how should the contact proceed? So if somebody books a meeting and it is 12 hours before the call, it's going to basically skip this next step because we don't want to send out a reminder if it's already in the past, so that they don't get a bunch of spam emails sent to them when it's not accurate, right? So I'm going to click on save. We have the 24-hour reminder email right here. Hi, contact first name, just a friendly reminder that our appointment is in 24 hours. When it's time, please use this Zoom meeting ID. We can change this to Google Meeting and place that right there. And here we have the from location name, which is fine. Location email, which is fine as well. We could potentially change this to Max Perzon and my email, but I'm gonna save this as is for now. Then we have 1 hour before the appointment. We go into this email. Your meeting is in 1 hour. I contact first name, just a friendly reminder that your appointment is in 1 hour. Use this Zoom meeting ID. I'm gonna change this again to use this Google Meet. I'm gonna place the location there. Click on save. And also a text message is being sent out. Hi, contact first name, just a friendly reminder that our appointment is 1 hour. And then location name as well. That is fine. Click on save. Wait 5 minutes before. All right, we're gonna send an email just 5 minutes before your appointment is starting. Please join here. We're gonna place the meeting location right there. Click on save, and then reminder SMS as well. I contact first name, our appointment is about to start. Hop in here, and then we're gonna place the Google Meeting link right there as well. Click on save action, click on publish and save, and that is basically it. Now also what we want to do before I continue is that we want to actually create an update opportunity here, and I want to do this first because what I want to do is just to make sure that we put this booking into the scheduling pipeline stage. So we can leave everything lead value, we don't really need that. In our case, status, we're gonna use that as open as well, and then we're gonna check this allow opportunity to move to any previous stage in the pipeline as well. I'm gonna click on save action and then on save. Now, also a final thing that I want to do is that I want to add an internal notification as well. So I'm gonna click on an email email internal notification. It's going to be sent from roofmax.ai and sent from max@roofmax.ai. And then to user type, we're going to do custom email. And I want to send this to my own email, so max@roofmax.ai. I also want to send it to Suli@roofmax.ai. And I also want to send it to my main email as well. For subject line, I'm just going to write new roofmax.ai booking. I'm also going to add the contact email. Then for the email, I'm just going to say something very simplistic for myself. Just full name, contact full name. Just booked a call in the roofmax.ai calendar. Very simplistic, and then I can go in and check it out myself. I just need a notification sent. So with that, I'm going to click on save action and then click on save. So now what I want to do is that I just want to do a final test as well. So if we go into opportunities here, you can see that 2 people have already, during the time of this recording, started to opt in the actual funnel. I know that you guys want to go through the funnel, but this is why I'm basically guarding the calendar, so I'm not going to get spammed with booked calls. So now what I want to do is just a very simplistic test. Here on the left, we have the RoofMax HighLevel account, we have the RoofMax calendar, and we have the RoofMax email inbox. And then to the right, this is basically going to be the test side of things. So here I have the landing page, I have the booking page. I'm going to make a booking as well, and from end to end. I also have my personal calendar, and I am also going to have my personal email right here that I'm going to use as the contact test email. So let's do this first. If we go to the landing page, so let's say I'm a lead here that comes in, so Max Perzon. I'm going to use my email, and we're also going to put in my phone number. I will click on I agree, show me how. I get taken to the VSL. I watch this video. I get super stoked up. I click on start your application, and then I'm going to go through the form. But before I do that, I just want to refresh the page right here inside of HighLevel. And as we can see right now inside of HighLevel, we can see that the lead has actually been implemented into the lead stage. So that's perfect. Now, if I go through this survey, so if I fill it out, click on submit, thanks for inquiry, and then it's going to redirect me to the thank you page. That's perfect. Now we can see inside of HighLevel that it actually moved the lead over to the application stage as well. So that is perfect. Now, if we go into grow form as well, we can see that I just got a lead generated. So it's populating into here correctly with all of the right data. So that's nice as well. And then the next thing we want to do is that I just want to make sure and test that the calendar is now working as well. Because let's say this lead from grow form actually was a good fit. We're going to reach out to them via email or call them. We're going to send them the link to our calendar page, and then they can go and book an actual call, or we book the call for them, however that might be. So let's say I want to book a call for Monday, right? The 27th. I'm going to do 1 p.m. I'm going to click on continue. It's pre-filling all of my information because it's a sticky contact. So that's great. I click on I confirm. Then we're going to click on schedule meeting. Then we get to the confirmation page. Your meeting has been scheduled. So that's great. Now, what we want to check is that if I go into my roofmax.ai email right now, it says me new roofmax.ai booking. So Max Perzon just booked the call. So that's perfect. We got a call booked. If I go into the calendar to Monday, here we have the booking. So there it is. Perfect. If I go into the client calendar, or the person who actually did book the call, we can see that we have the meeting right here. Max Perzon roofmax.ai, that is in there. Also, if I go into my personal email, you can see that we received 4 emails. And really, this is just a notification email that I sent to myself as well, so we can ignore that one. But we got an updated invitation from Google Calendar. We got an appointment confirmation. So, hi, Max Perzon, your appointment has been scheduled. Here are the details. So that is working as well. And then we got another appointment confirmation here as well. So they got basically 3 emails confirming that the booking was made. So that's really, really good. That's basically everything that we need. So that's it for today's video. In the next video, we're going to start to set up the analytics tracking and also the Google Tag Manager so that we can start preparing for our retargeting campaign that we can start later once we actually get the first client. And we also have an upcoming video where we're going to talk more about how you guys can actually partner with us if you want to. It's going to be an awesome opportunity. And also, we're getting closer and closer to actually start doing this organic outreach, to start getting calls and clients and actually start making some money as well. So super exciting stuff. I'll see you inside of the next episode. Let's go.